I want to know is like, what do you attribute your success to? What are your strengths in your
It's
eyes?
a really good question. And I like to put it out there, first of all, it's just been this wild ride since we started music, and we have such a strong belief in saying yes to every opportunity, and also never having like crazy big expectations on ourselves or things we think that we should do. So the music industry can be a little bit harsh in rejection, but it's so subjective, you can never take it to heart. So
When we first started, we kind of just threw ourselves into it. We went out busking, and at the start, it was really scary, and we didn't want to do it because we were like, what if no one really cares? What if we stuff up? But I think that was a great way to start off because a lot of people didn't care, and it really built our confidence in ourselves.
yeah.
There's a lot of talent, and I mean I've been to SA. I've done a few gigs in SA, and there's a lot of talent in SA as well. But you guys are still cleaning up. So what? Like you're allowed to be a little bit selfish. You're allowed to be a little bit sort of ego. Like why? Like what is it about you guys that is your strength?
It's a very good question because I think Ella and I have been trying to work that out for a very, very
Watch
long
us
time.
really not be able to talk about ourselves in a just we're always just sit down, be humble.
Yeah,
I think okay, I'm gonna answer the question because we've been avoiding it. Our strengths, I think we know each other so well that that comes across on stage really obviously. I think both ourselves, as sisters, being able to harmonize, being able to just know where each other's voice fits, and also the same with our band. So we always take our band with us wherever we go, and we've been told multiple times that that really comes across on stage, that we're all good friends and we all have that connection. So I think that's a, a really strong, yeah, I think that's a strength that we have. And also just, yeah, I don't know. There's something
got
about
one.
you got one?
Yeah.
This is a hard question.
I feel like songwriting as well is one of our strengths. It's probably one of our favourite parts of the jobs, and we've been doing it for a very long time. So it's one of the things that we love doing, and writing our own songs and then performing our own songs. I think it comes across pretty well as well.
Speaking of songwriting, tell us your process. How do you go from an idea to what makes it through to Spotify?
Yeah, well, it's a very different thing each time, I think, but a lot of the time, come up with like a lyric or some chords that we like, and then at the moment, it's pretty like separate writing with Ella and I, and we'll like kind of come up with our own ideas and the basis of it, and then come together. So we have our own little like train of thought first. But yeah, then we'll come together and finish it and put harmonies and stuff in, and then if we want to record it, we'll go and record it with our producer. At the moment, we're working with Rod McCormack, who is just incredible, and he's a genius. So we've actually got 3 songs in the work that we've just done
Yeah.
and finished. And yeah, he just really brings it to life and gets all our ideas in there, and then it's a song.
Yeah.
Do you, because as you said, you've got the same band that basically stays with you. Do you bring them into any of the songwriting process, even for their parts?
Um,
Not really. I think Sienna and I are both very lyrical people. So when we have a story, we feel so strongly about it and we cling to it. And yeah, we kind of workshop it on our own and then bring it together when we're like happy with it. And then the band, they're not as much lyrical people, so they're just like, oh, let's put some boom here and it'll sound cool.
Yeah.
Like they kind of add their own,
yeah,
add their own instrumental parts for what they think. We let them have that little creative license over
Yeah,
that.
in saying that, sometimes like when we do play it live before we've recorded the song, one of the people in the band will do something that we really like, and we'll be like, oh, we might just steal that and actually put it into the recording. Like our guitarist has done like a riff.
Yeah,
a couple
couple little
and we're like,
riffs.
oh, that's really cool. So yeah, we do. If they have really good ideas and we really like what they're doing, we might just.
Do you often road test a like stage test a song before it hits the studio?
Definitely.
Yeah, every time.
Live, yeah. But most of the time it's about a year-long process of writing and
Wow.
arranging it and then playing it live and then seeing how the response is from the audience in different venues as well. So testing out singer-songwriter venues and then festival stages and seeing how that song kind of translates. And then by the time it's the studio and then it gets mixed and mastered and then distributed,
It's an entirely different song.
it's almost yeah, it really changes, and it's great to see the growth in the song, and definitely gets transformed in the studio. We like to start with a very raw demo of just vocals and acoustic guitar, not to kind of sway the producer in any which way, but kind of have his input there as well. But yeah, it's a big process.
Now, do you guys book your own venues shows, or are you under management?
We do everything independently. So we do book our own shows, and we have a great team. Our mum and dad get on the emails when they can and help us out. So, but yeah, everything's run independently.
Cool. So how do you pick then? Because you guys have had some phenomenal gigs. You've got this huge tour that's going on at the moment. How do you pick your venue? How do you pick your festivals that you guys get into? And then I want to also ask, how do you pitch it? What's your process to pitch to a venue or pitch to a festival?
It was a lot of research because we wanted to play music venues, and then there are a couple of issues that came up with that, as most of them are over 18 licensing for their alcohol. So then it kind of also finding like the capacity and where in the city, and if we can try and align up, 3 venues kind of close to each other in the weekend to make it worth it. And I think, you just have to go for every single one, like never be like, oh, they might not want our show, just go for it. And I think, you email 10 venues and 2 might get back to you, and then you try again. And but I think the cool thing about this Taylor Swift show, because she's so popular at the moment, is we actually started booking this tour, and then we've probably had about 10 venues reach out to us.
Wow.
It has been going quite
That's
well.
so cool.
Yeah, they've seen it advertised. So we, it wasn't supposed to be such a big tour, but because, we had people from Hobart going, no one ever comes to Tasmania, please bring it here. And over in Perth, and we've got some new shows up in Cairns and Townsville and things like that, because they saw the show. So that was really cool, because obviously the venue got quite a bit of faith that it'll go well as well. So
yeah, for festivals and stuff, there's usually an application process, that's the word. And yeah, they'll just want an EPK and images and all that type of stuff, and then they kind of just pick who gets on the bill. And we've been very lucky the past couple of years getting on some really great country music festivals, especially. They've been very welcoming to us as emerging artists, which has been absolutely great.
But the other thing is, like, festivals have such a rotating bill. So if you play it one year, you might skip a year and then come back the next. So but we've had a really good run in the last couple of years, playing some really cool shows.
Yeah. So when you do your initial pitch, and I know that with festivals there's an application that's a fairly generic kind of like app, but when you pitch to a venue, like what's your introduction pitch to them?
Yeah, I mean, straight away, it's just like your short, snappy bio, because people do not want to read a whole paragraph about you. It's just who you are, where you're from, what you do. And then really, if you can get them listening to your music straight away, I think that's the best way to kind of get them in. So it's like, this is who we are, listen.
Great. And is that to a like a YouTube video or an Instagram video, or is it like an audio sort of thing that you try and push?
It's our Spotify, I think.
Spotify, but also I think videos, now that we've got a music video out as well, because I know these days, short form content does a lot better than long music videos. But if you can have one video, because then they can see you, and so many people are visual people as well. So where we can, we do link to the video. But yeah, short introduction, and then really they'll just come back and say, how many tickets are you going to sell?
Exactly. Yeah, I think venues just always want to know how many people are going to come, and if you've got people that listen to you. So yeah, we always like to add in a couple of the achievements, like we've been on The Voice and all that, so they know that we're a little bit known. So we will bring some people through the doors as well.
Speaking of The Voice, great segue, thank you. Season 11, you're top 24. How have you leveraged that? Because obviously that's given you a great exposure. People do different things when they get opportunities. How do you think you've leveraged that to promote your career in music?
I definitely think that the timing of our first single was very, very thought out and planned. We actually recorded it when we were over in Sydney filming The Voice as well. And we thought, we'll just have this one in the pipeline. And we released it pretty much like a month or so before everything came out on TV. So that was something that was really cool, because we wanted people to be able to see us on TV, and if they liked what they heard, to have something out on Spotify and the streaming platforms. So that one went really well, considering it was our first song that we ever put out.
Now I've seen you guys play live. You are very, very accomplished singers, very in sync, as you alluded to earlier as well. I think that day too, Sienna, you were a bit unwell. Was that the Country by the River? You were a bit crook that gig?
Yeah, I had like no voice. That was a struggle, not gonna lie.
As a singer, when you get unwell, the show goes on. So it's just like you do your best, and it's so nice when you have such a supportive crowd.
Oh, that was great. Yeah,
everyone kind of understands. All the musicians playing on the day as well were like, "Oh, we feel for you." Everyone's been there.
Yeah.
Still a really
and
good
so many
gig.
people came up to me after the show as well and were like, "You did great. You really pushed through." Like,
It was gutsy, great gutsy. To like, and there is what I really dislike is flakes and people use an opportunity to get out of playing music, because I love music so much, and every music kind of gig is such a blessing, I think. And I think you did well to kind of keep that opportunity going and enjoy that. But the question I've got for you is that singing is definitely a strength of yours, and I know there's going to be a truckload of people that are going to want to know, like, what goes into your singing routine? How many hours do you guys spend, or time, or what's your singing, like, how have you gotten where you are? And please don't tell me you're just born with it, because that is just gutting.
I think we always loved singing as little kids, and we got singing lessons. When was that? That really started it
2016.
off.
So it was a lot later than I think a lot of people assume. But because our family isn't necessarily musical, we didn't really get into it until we really wanted to get into it. And I think I'm very grateful because of like that. We didn't have a chance to like burn out when you're 10 and you fall out of love with it. We kind of found it ourselves and really wanted to pursue that ourselves. And in terms of like a singing routine, we don't have one because we sing 24/7
That's true.
Right.
constantly. We like
Do you ever go down like the more sort of technical, theoretical part of just going through scales and like harmonizing different scales and intervals and stuff together? Like they're not as fun as like singing a song together as such, but just kind of practicing that kind of routine.
I feel like we did a lot more of that when we were in high school, because you got to focus on that kind of technical side. We don't do as much of it now because it is kind of boring, but we should.
I do because I teach singing.
That's the
So
same.
I actually every Tuesday and Wednesday I'm there with the piano getting kids to do scales. So I still definitely have that as a regular thing in my practice, I guess you could call it. And Sienna's around the house all the time riffing little scales and stuff, whether she like realizes it or not. So yeah, definitely.
As for harmonies, though, I think we just kind of learn them of hearing other songs and just finding them. We'll often just do like 3-part harmonies, even though there's not anyone else to do a 3-part harmony with us in our band. Just singing along to the radio and stuff, and that's kind of how we practice our harmonies, finding new different things and working with our voices. That's kind of how we practice that, I guess.
Yeah, gotcha. That's so cool. And do you still see growth in your singing? So after with the practice, like year on year, you're like, wow, there's no way that 2 years ago we would have been able to sing that. Like, are you conscious of your singing growth?
When we see videos from 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, literally, I think I wasn't that bad. And then we literally look back on videos and we both sound like chipmunks. It's like, whoa, we got some depth. We actually grew up a bit. And we thought we were great.
It's so funny because you actually don't really notice, because you don't think about it too much, but then a Snapchat memory will pop up, or someone will send you, oh, look at this video of you guys from like 3 years ago, and you just go, oh my goodness, it's completely different. Like some of the early videos from us busking, we sound like chipmunks.
Yeah.
And I get why people were like, oh, they're so cute, whether they can sing or not, because we sounded like straight up like babies.
So how, like, because there's 2 of you, and how do you guys agree on where you're going and what you're doing?
Oh, good question. People think we get along so well. And I love that. I love that for us. I love that we let people think
There's
that.
a lot of back and forth on decisions. Ella usually gets more of a vote because she's the eldest.
That's a lie.
No, we do argue a fair bit on different things, but
I think it's okay. So it's creative differences mostly. Mum and dad also have a lot of a say, and I think, you know, we don't have a manager, but in a way they kind of are our manager because we know that they are the people in the world that have our best interests at heart. And whenever there's a big opportunity or we've been asked to do a couple different gigs or a festival, we take it to a band meeting, which is literally just us and our parents. We'll call a band meeting and we'll all kind of talk about, you know, is it worth it? Where do we want to go? But I think it has been pretty easy in the way that Sienna and I just knew we wanted to put out our own music. And that was just a goal that we always had together. And just to play our music, like write, record, and play, that's just like the goal. And then eventually be able to make, you know, a sustainable living off of that, is the ultimate goal. So having that overarching, mission, I guess, of like, this is what we want to do, really helps. And then it's just smaller things that we like to argue about.
Now you spoke about your own music, and we're in the middle of this era's tribute tour, and so I get this right. So you play a cover, and people react differently to an original song that they may have heard once or twice before, or less, or not at all. So what's the driver to doing tribute?
Being emerging artists, getting our original music out there and having people know that kind of music is a lot more difficult. So with the tribute show, obviously we love Taylor Swift, we love playing Taylor Swift, everyone loves Taylor Swift. It's really great to kind of meet people and make that connection with them that way, and then kind of slide our original music in if anyone else like wants to listen to it. We kind of say that at the end of the shows, but it's really great to just build a relationship with people and go places that we wouldn't be able to go at the moment, just with our original music.
But you wouldn't play any of your original things in that tribute show, though, would you?
No, we don't, but we make sure that we have our CDs at the merch stand. And we do say before the last song, you know, if you do like Taylor Swift, our music is very similar because we are very inspired by her, and we direct them straight over to the merch stand. And it's so great to see so many people come up and buy the CDs and support us in that way, and then hopefully, you know, end up liking it. And we do have some people that come to those shows because they wanted to see us as well, which is just very, very sweet.
Listen to our original music. Yeah, that's been very cool to hear and see as well.
Is there a target? Where are we going from here?
I don't think necessarily there's just one target. We just want to keep building, keep doing more festivals and different venues. There's not one specific goal in mind. It's just being able to build this career so we can do it full time and make a living off it. That's really the end goal. There's not just one specific thing.
I think we've got a great opportunity at this point in time because Sienna's actually just finished school and I've just finished uni at the end of last year. So we have this wonderful open freedom, once we finish this little Reputation tribute tour, to kind of have a bit of space and really tap into our creativity, I think is what we're looking at for the rest of this year, releasing those 3 songs that we have in the works. And then next year is just a big blank canvas, I think. So that's definitely something we're going to talk about when we're not as crazy doing shows. But lots of things in the works.
Yeah, it's very exciting as well because a lot of the time we book trips and everything so far ahead to not have anything on that year right now. It's like we can do whatever, and at the end of the tour, how we're feeling, the original music, like it's very exciting to just kind of see what happens at the end of this.
You've been out all night.